Through Andrew Wommack Ministries, countless destinies have been changed. Bodies have been healed, marriages restored, and minds transformed around the world. What has made a difference in so many lives started, though, with one ordinary 12-year-old who asked God to show him His will for his life at his father's funeral. This is the destiny story of Andrew Wommack.
I was sitting on the front row, and this is when they had an open casket, and I was sitting there looking at my dad's body and listening to that song, How Great Thou Art, and I just thought, this is weird. I was told that God's the one that killed my dad when I was 12 years old, that God punished us, that God put sickness on us. He was, extremely hard to please, and if you didn't measure up, boy, you could expect the wrath of God. And I remember at that funeral praying and saying, God, if you're truly great, reveal yourself to me. Show me what you want to do with my life.
God did exactly that. On March 23, 1968, God revealed Himself to 18-year-old Andrew, freeing him from his religious mindset that was based on his own performance.
I was just laying on the floor in a puddle of tears, and instead of God's wrath coming on me, I just had a supernatural, a tangible love come on me that overwhelmed me. Because of that experience, that God's goodness to me and love for me has nothing to do with how good I am. It just transformed me. From the beginning, I just knew it was going to touch the world. I got drafted and sent to Vietnam, and I was put out on a fire support base. But did you know I was a chaplain's assistant assigned there, and my chaplain was gone. And so I actually didn't have anybody over me. I didn't have anything to do. And I sat there for 13 months, spending anywhere from 10 to 15 hours a day just studying the Word. My very first day in Vietnam, I was reading in Mark chapter 4 about, that the mustard seed is the least of all seeds, but when it's sown in the earth, it becomes this huge tree. And the birds, the fowls of the air come and lodge in the branches thereof. I said, God, that's what I want. I want this worldwide ministry. And God told me that your root is only that deep, you can't afford it. He says, you just forget about all of the fruit and you just deal with the root. And that became a direction for me all through Vietnam.
Andrew survived Vietnam through the Word. Upon returning home, Andrew married his childhood friend, Jamie. For 20 years, Andrew ministered, letting his roots grow deep. But things were not easy. Andrew's commitment to some wrong beliefs caused the couple to go through poverty and frustration. During this time, God spoke to Andrew to start a Bible college, which he did, despite his reservations.
I didn't want a Bible college, but I was over in England, 1992. And I mean, just all of a sudden, I saw it. God showed me the person that He wanted to run it. He showed me the very first instructor I ever went and got.
Andrew was experiencing some success, but everything he was doing was still not enough to reach the world. Andrew was thinking too small, limiting God to only radio, when God had something else in mind.
I was really frustrated because I had this vision of reaching the world. And at the pace I was going, it just wasn't happening. Overall, over 20 years, we did improve. It was just a constant frustration. And one of the keys was in 1998, I was praying about this, and once again, I was saying, God, how do I increase? How do I reach people? And I sat down with a calendar, and I got to thinking, if it took me 20 years to reach 120 radio stations, for me to reach 6,000 radio stations, it just dawned on my lightning fast mind that I wouldn't get there in my lifetime. And I started praying and saying, God, what is going on? I had a dream, and I woke up, I think it was 3 o'clock or 3:30 in the morning, and it was like somebody shouted out, I heard, your time has come. And I sat straight up in bed. And it woke me up, and I went into my study and I began to start saying, God, what does this mean? And as I prayed about it, he told me, he says, when you start on television, that's going to be the beginning of your ministry. And if you had died before I went on television, that even though, I saw people's lives touched and good things happen, he says, you would have missed my perfect will for your life. And that's when the Lord spoke to me, and he says, I want you to go on television now. Welcome to the Gospel Truth Broadcast, and today you are going to hear one of the most amazing testimonies that I believe you've ever heard, so stay tuned and prepared to be blessed.
Andrew had discovered God's will for his life and was reaching more people than ever before. The increase in the TV audience brought in even more students to the Bible college, and before long, it was more than the ministry could handle. Andrew realized he was still thinking too small.
I was talking to a fellow minister about 12 o'clock midnight on January the 31st, and the Lord just spoke to me, Psalm 78:41, that in your heart you've turned back and you've limited the Holy One of Israel. And he showed me how I was limiting him by my small thinking. And the very next day I got up in front of a group of ministers, my peers, and told them, I started saying, I am going to have a worldwide ministry that's going to reach people all over this world. And as I was saying it, I was wondering about, are they going to think you're arrogant? Are they going to think you're bragging or something? But I just knew that I had to start speaking forth my vision and quit limiting God. As the Lord showed me I'd been limiting him, I just started dreaming big, and we went from 14,700 square feet to 110,000 square feet. At that same time, the Lord told me to do it debt-free. It was either we were going to move to a whole new level and God was going to supply a miracle, or I was going to totally kill the ministry. Within 14 months, we had that $3.2 million and we were in this building.
When Andrew took the limits off, the ministry went to the next level. TV viewership increased, and Andrew realized Charis would need more than just a building, but an entire campus. Andrew had a choice to make. He could fully trust God with a dream he was given at 18 years old, or he could keep limiting God, and it would never come to pass.
I'm going to do this with all of the ability that I have, but I've made a decision not to go in debt. Well, here we are at our new property in the sanctuary, and I am thrilled to announce to you that we are actually working on the site. It's crunch time for me. In the next 2 or 3 weeks, I need $3 million. Well, today is December the 26th, 2013, and this is our very last update. We actually got in here debt-free, and we met our goal, which is a praise the Lord.
You got to understand, this building, look at it, was stuck in the warehouse of faith, waiting for somebody to pull it out. This was not seen at one time. But you couldn't tell Andrew Wommack that.
When Andrew committed to taking the limits off, the dream God gave him to have a worldwide ministry came to pass. Andrew's roots have gone deep, so now others can receive the fruit. The ministry has expanded to over 15 international locations, with over 70 campus locations. Andrew's books have been translated into over 40 languages, and the Gospel Truth TV program now has a reach of 3.4 billion people. Andrew has discovered his destiny, and now others are discovering theirs through Charis Bible College. What Andrew was once reluctant to start is now producing indescribable fruit. The dream God gave Andrew to reach the world was bigger than he could even imagine. Through discipleship at Charis, an army is being raised up that will continue reaching the world indefinitely with the gospel, as far and as deep as possible.
But as Charis Bible College has gotten started and started gaining traction, really the whole focus of my ministry has changed to where now I have more joy in seeing people I've ministered to go out and minister than me doing it.
Charis is raising up leaders who are able to take what Andrew is giving to the entire world.
I said, Lord, now that I know what you have done for us, send us wherever you want to. We want to do things for you.
I felt, boom, inside me, go.
We had this idea. We were going to go preaching in the remote villages where the name of Christ has never been heard.
We didn't know how it was going to work out. We just knew we were going.
We knew that we were called.
When we first started there in 1999, no one knew the name of Andrew. And now Andrew's the most popular, well-known minister in all of Russia.
And what's so amazing is back in 1980, I remember standing there listening to him say this and thinking, you know, this would be a miracle. And sitting here today, and I'll tell you, this has been a miracle.
All of this is a result of one 12-year-old boy asking God what His will for his life was and reaching it when he took the limits off. If God can accomplish all this from a single seed, imagine what the future holds.